Hello everybody, this is Roman from the Chess Video Guide channel. Today I'd like to show a nice combination by Alexander Grischuk from the Chess Olympiad in Tromsø. In this position he's playing with the white pieces and he sacrificed a pawn. So black has an extra pawn here in the center. In return white has this very good central pawn that is giving him a bit of extra space. Another thing that white got in return for the pawn sacrifice is the active placement of his pieces. So all of his minor pieces are very aggressively placed, and he also clearly has more space on the king side. Like this pawn is giving him a bit of a extra chances on the side of the board. And finally, black's pieces are a little bit at home here, and they're also a bit cut off from the king side. So using this, we can sort of imagine the board being split up into two halves, where on the king side, like white has a material advantage because he's got more pieces there. And all this, of course, is very helpful because the black king is on the king side, and this is where Grischuk begins his decisive action. And he starts with a very nice move, which he had to foresee in advance, otherwise the pawn sacrifice wouldn't be as good. So he throws in a piece with knight to g5. And this isn't really just throwing a piece. This is also, while this is, allowing to bring in the knight into the game, this also opens up the path for the queen. So now the queen is coming to h5 and beginning to put pressure on f7, on h6. So like sacrifices would really be up in the air here, and so black had to take, otherwise it's just really hard to tolerate that knight. And then, as expected, white throws in the queen. Now there's a very simple threat of checkmate on h8 that black has to defend against. Either the bishop goes or the king goes back. I mean, of course, trying to cover up h7 would not be helpful. That would be just leading to a checkmate. And going back here, what else can black do? Well, in the game he tried to run away with the king, and now Grischuk continues the attack with f6, with pawn to e6, while this cuts off further squares for the escape of the king. This really is threatening checkmate again because now d7 is covered. He's also threatening checkmate like this, and black has to do something about it. And it's very little that he can do, actually, surprisingly. So in the game he tried to take with the bishop, and that really is giving up a piece back because now white can take on e6, and of course black cannot recapture back. And black here was putting all his hopes on this move. Well, actually, sorry. After this, he was thinking that, well, I got my second piece back, so I'm still up a piece, and it's not very clear where the white attack is going. White has fewer and fewer pieces in the game because two of them are exchanged or captured, and white has to do something to kind of throw in more fuel into the fire, and he does. What Grischuk has noticed here is that the king is still threatening to escape, and he decided to cut off the squares for the escape of the king, and he played bishop to f5. And once you see this move, the attack becomes very strong, and it becomes very clear what Grischuk has sacrificed all this material for. So now again he's threatening queen to h8, and if the king goes, well, then all the discovery checks would just really get at the black king, and there would be no peace for that king. And he tried to play g6, and that's really what he must have hoped for, but the sacrifices continue. Like this strategy of playing for the light squares is really working out very well for Grischuk here. And he recognized that the key piece here is the bishop, and it's really important to keep the bishop in the game, and that's why he gives up the rook on g6. Now, of course, if if black captures, then he just gets checkmated. There's no way to prevent mates on all those squares here, and the move he played is no better really. He played this, but white, playing in the proper classical style, he recognized that he needs more pieces in the game, and all you have to do is bring those pieces to the part of the board where all the action is happening, and he plays rook e1, and that really wraps up the game, because now white has enough pieces to continue the attack. He threatens again with mate because now the bishop is pinned, and black's last try was to capture the rook, and then he just got checkmated. The king has only one square to go to, and then suddenly bishop e6 is mate. This is a very nice game by Grischuk against a 2600 player, and it is very instructive for young players, I think, or for anybody who's trying to learn how to attack in chess. It shows why you want to have more space, where and when you want to sacrifice pieces, and finally it shows when you're conducting the attack you need to combine sacrifices like knight to g5 and rook on g6 with moves that bring in more pieces into the game, moves like bishop to f5 and moves like rook to e1, because while you're sacrificing pieces you still need other pieces to help you carry on with the attack, and sort of those kind of slow moves that don't sacrifice any more material but just make your attack much stronger. Those moves are really hard for the opponent to see, and seeing those moves in advance is really the indication of the player's strength, and that's something that Grischuk has plenty of. Thanks for watching.